What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Is this yeah, happy fifth. What was Cinco de Mayo? Yesterday or today? I forgot. It was today. So happy Cinco de Mayo for those who care. For those who out there getting your drink on and doing what you gotta do, or the meaning of it. I hope you had a good day. I hope your week is going good so far. Mine is going pretty good. I can't complain. I gotta wake up. I'm alive. My wife is healthy, family's healthy, everybody's good. So I don't have a problem. Today, this is Real Talk Chronicles with your host, Bill Foster, and my co-host, Kevin Branzetti. We always talk about a lot of law enforcement issues or politics or anything that's current events that's happening in the world today. Um, Crime is up in New York. We're definitely going to talk about that. Like it's getting something very terrible. We need to discuss these things and see what's going on. Steph, how are you? Um, Hey, Lynn, what's going on? Kev, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Bill. Good evening. Hello, everyone.
So, Kev, every rules. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, like it, tell a friend. If you're on Facebook, this is the place where we have the conversations. So, Kev, let me just go right in. Crime has been crazy in New York. 14 shootings last week. I mean, over the weekend. I think was it one day over the weekend. The week before that. Um, we talked about last week about stop, question, frisk, and anti-crime. Because I had Sammy Bello on. He's running for Bronx Borough President. He's a candidate for Bronx Borough President, and I was telling him personally that like stop, question, frisk is a necessary tool, and it was used definitely improperly. It was used for a quota thing, but you had it with Al Taylor, and then Tony Herbert chimed in, and Al was saying how legislators had to get involved, and but I was saying that what was the the help? It was just get rid of it, but there isn't any other thing to help them out. You know what I mean? First, like, what other tools are you going to use? Um, I it's almost like it might have to come back some way in some form, but it has to be amended. Definitely, where I personally feel like if you're a law enforcement officer, you better sure damn well have a reason to stop somebody. And we're not talking about just a regular or articulating the stop. I mean, come on, let's stop because he fit the description. Not we got a call that you fit the description. Like you really, let's literally fit the description. You were this and that. And Malika Dog is tap dancing in the background. Uh, so, what's your take on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things, Bill. One, yeah, we got to get back to allowing cops to be cops, right? They got to be able to stop people and do what they're supposed to do. They're not work in an environment where they're afraid. You know, they shouldn't work in an environment with impunity, but you can't work in an environment where you're afraid. The other end of it is, we're in this technical era. There are a lot of technical solutions and things that can be done with crimes to help solve them. And there's a lot of pushback in that world as well. Things along the lines of facial recognition and other tools law enforcement has access to are also getting pushed back. So, in this moment, we're pushing back on cops being cops, and then we're pushing back on cops using technology. I don't see a third alternative. You know, we need to have a little bit better usage of both.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we won't want cops being cops. But right now, cops are not doing anything because they're upset with the liberals or the lawmakers or whomever, you know, de Blasio, and they feel that they can't be cops. You know, um, I want to ask you a question. Like, let's delve into the police mentality. Stephanie says, I'm feeling a bit down. Got the back to the office email. Oh no, crime is through the roof in Brooklyn. I don't go out past a certain time anymore. It's so scary. Absolutely. What's up, Veronica? Um, like, why there's such a problem with law enforcement having this mentality? Like when we was working, we hated when somebody said, "Oh, I pay your taxes," but we do work for the community. You know what I'm saying? But now it seems like law enforcement hates that, and it's almost like rebellious. It's like almost like I, and correct me if I'm putting this out there. I haven't got confirmation from anybody. It's just almost like, um, well, I work I'm a police officer, and I'm here to do a job, and it's if you're a slave to in the system, whatever me doing my job, it's not my fault. Like what's your take on that? I mean, I'm just trying to piece it together on it.
Look, I'm still looking for the politician who will go out and try to solve this, and it's still we're taking sides. Does the cops have a duty to do their job? Of course they do, but we also have a duty to do our job, to give them the tools to do theirs and the backing, right? And we're not. I don't believe we are, and I don't blame cops. It's a tough era. It really is, Bill. I don't know when somebody will come forward, when a politician, a mayoral candidate will come forward and be the one who's going to bring both sides together. And that's what we're
Let me
all
ask you a
lacking
question.
here.
How many? Yeah. Do you think? What's up, Mark? Happy birthday to Mark and Collins. Both of them celebrated birthdays. I think on this either not this if it's not the same day, one day apart. So happy birthday, Mark. Definitely avid supporter of Real Talk Chronicles. I wish you all the best, many blessings. And when I see you, cigars and drinks, brother, we doing it. How much of the problem do you think police have put on themselves? I mean, in all honesty, like have said, yo, we messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that was our fault. That dropped the ball.
But I don't know if the individual cop, we could say, it's their fault, right? Like, they're just cops, right? They do a job. We took it. Just look at NYPD, right? We took a lot of heat for incidents that did not happen in New York City, and legislation got changed in New York City for incidents that did not happen here. Just on an NYPD perspective, they're being punished for something that they didn't do.
Happen, Well, we can't say all the time because what I will say is that we could talk about Sean Bell, we could talk about Eleanor Bumpers, we could talk about the older lady that got shut. No, I'm just saying, but these are things that happen in New York that have led to a certain mentality. Especially Eric Gardner. How can we forget? I mean, Amadou Diallo. The other brother. When we were working at that time, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I was working for most of these things, so we can't say that it didn't happen in New York. A lot of things cultivated. Pamela Monroe. A lot has happened in New York. Eric Gardner. Pamela is definitely speaking out. So there have things that have come to. New York has fell on the sword because of things like this. I understand what you're saying too. I mean, because it all gets caught. Graham, yeah, Pamela. Shout out to Pamela. She's on YouTube. She's throwing out the names. Yeah, and Pamela, please refresh on. So that like that has happened to us. We have been the the problems and situations and things of that magnitude. I understand what you mean, Kevin, when you say things have happened in other cities that have caused problems too. I can't dispute that because with law enforcement, you're all guilty by association too. I mean that's just what it is. That blue uniform is blue uniform. I have a clip that I'm going to show later. I figured I'd give you a break from streaming and something you wanted to see.
So you learned how
Share
to
split
stream?
screen. I already kind of knew, but I'm still like the techie dude. I let Malika do things. Um, Stephanie said, I don't think the police hold any ability as a whole. It's always a pass the buck sort of thing. What do you think about that? Oh, Muhammad Ba, Pamela, also Pamela. Shout out to you out here, definitely doing your thing. Thanks for being on the show in the past, and you're always welcome back. Um, Mark also said, I just want to get Bill. This is for you both. Would either of you recommend a young person, male or female, to become a police officer in these times? Let's see what else he wrote. It's a job that once was held with esteem, particularly in New York, but across the country. I personally, I'm gonna let Kevin answer, but I'm gonna answer your question. Kevin can answer yours, and then follow up on Stephanie's. I still would recommend it. I think people of color have always understood the importance. I'm not saying white people haven't, and Spanish people, Latin people, our Latin people haven't understood that, but I just think we always have understood the severity and the need of a job. Some people gonna mess up. Some people ain't gonna follow suit. White, black, and Spanish. Let me tell you something. I know just as many white people that have messed up on this job in my years of being involved in law enforcement as I've known for people of color. But what I have noticed though is that when people of color mess up on a job, they get ostracized like, oh, yo, I don't want to talk to him. He's a perp. When a white person messes up on his job, oh, mm, he made a mistake. What are we going to do? He's my friend. And it's not given the same, it's not afforded the same era. We're all human, like I see when people in law enforcement get mad at other law enforcement people that mess up on this job, they act like they have uh sold to the devil for a coin. You know what I'm saying? Like they dealt with the Pied Piper. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. It's just this is just a job. And I think you're right, Mark. This job has made people feel it's held with high esteem, but it seems like people have not held it in high esteem. Kev?
Yeah. Look, I would I recommend the job to my kids at this point? No, not at this point. Um, maybe the change will occur in the next couple of years, and we'll have some what I think is, proper reform. You know, which Bill and I, you and I talk about extensively, right? Training our cops to be cops, training them how to handle themselves, training them in
Right.
history of cops, training them in history of law enforcement, training them in history of this country. Like we need to learn a lot of things in life, to be able to be good stewards of our communities, right? And that's more of what I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
You know, um, what we did was though we had, and this is government does it all the time. It's not just with cop involved things. It happens with from 9/11 to school shootings to cop involved things. We have knee jerk reactions. Lawmakers come up with new laws, new rules, without really talking to those involved. And then later on we figure out they might not have made the best decisions, and things need to get fixed. And I think we're in one of those eras where we've made some bad decisions as lawmakers, and we're just waiting for somebody to come fix it.
So let me ask you a question, and I think you kind of partly answered Steph's question. I'm just going to read it again. And Pamela, thank you for these names. You read know Saheed Vessel, Akai Gurley. Um,
And
Stephanie said, I don't think the police hold any
those incidents.
accountability as a whole. It's always a pass the buck quota. Excuse me?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What'd you say, Kevin?
I'm going to say something to Pam in a moment, but let's go into Stephanie's thing. I don't think the police hold an accountability as a whole. Well, I think actually we are more accountable as a whole. You know, we're held accountable in NYPD for somebody that something did in Minneapolis. We're held accountable for whatever any cop does anywhere. I think we're held far more accountable. And then maybe a lot of professions. I think there used to be a history of not being accountable, and we're still thinking about that history. You know, like the people use phrase of the blue wall of silence, and you know, these things are pretty much non-existent nowadays. So I think we are very accountable for our stuff. I just, you know, more than anyone else.
Hello, Colin.
Pam is throwing out Pamela on YouTube. She's throwing out lots of names of people. And my question to the end is, what legislative changes have been made positive because of any of those incidents? And I'm going to go with, I don't think there's any. And what
Pamela,
NYPD training has been changed? Not much.
Well, let me just interject. Pamela was on our show, and she was involved with, correct me with the acronym again, Pamela, the equal something civilian. That acronym again, Pamela, and we'll definitely want to have you back. And like she said, Akai was killed in the Pink Projects by a petrified rookie, which she was definitely right about that. I mean, the rookie was scared to be walking in the projects. She had no business in there. The ECRB. Thank you, Pamela. And we definitely want you to come back and have some more conversation. But Kevin asked you a question. He said, what do you think, what positive change have you think happened? Elected, she said, the elected civilian review board. I guess maybe that's what she's feeling that has been the positive change. I just want to give a big shout out to Colin. Happy birthday again, Colin. We see you in the building. So, what do you think, Kevin? Like, what can be first? I feel that the problem lies within, and we can talk about the solution, absolutely, but I feel that the problem lies within the mentality of the person coming on the job.
Yeah, but what? I'm just going to go back to the mentality. We don't. Sorry, you're coming and broken up on.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So yes, we need to improve on. Oh, sorry, we need to improve on who we hire and how we train them. And Bill, you and I are in agreement on this. We need to change the academy and let the academy get a little more drill sergeant like and be a little nasty to see who can handle it. Mm-hmm. Right. We need when we need to teach cops how to use their hands. We're still we keep coming up with new rules, new things that cops can't do, shouldn't do, are illegal to do, but we're not giving them the tools to do what they're supposed to do. And we could talk about Gurley and was that cop scared and it was an accident. He shot his gun by accident. Yeah, but I've seen a lot of cops shoot their gun by accident, right? I've seen it in locker rooms and I've seen it on the street. Unfortunately,
but let me ask,
but we're not giving. We didn't give that guy the tools. I'm going to go back to I don't know if we gave him the right tools to be out there. If he's that terrified to be, walking up a flight of stairs in the projects, I don't think he was by himself. I think he was with another cop. Mm-hmm. How much training, they tell us, Bill, when you're walking with your gun out, finger off the trigger, right?
Absolutely.
How much actual training did we do of that though? I mean, did we ever walk a building in our academy doing training like that? Do we have, virtual reality training also as well, and doing this over and over again? So it's natural. It's a reaction. It's real training. the training really happens on this job is on the street.
But I mean, we can talk about that. And you said, yeah, you equated an accidental discharge in a locker room to a person being shot. And correct me, I think, did he lose his life or he's still alive?
No, no, he died.
He
He
died,
died. It was
exactly.
one of the more freak
Yeah,
incidents. But I told you about the incident last week about the guy I worked with narcotics who had a shootout with himself.
but
And that
but
incident,
mhm,
when you let loose 4 bullets in an apartment building, there's a chance somebody's going to get hit. And if
right,
somebody would have got hit there, that guy's in that person's life would be a lot different, right?
yeah. Well, like I never knew what happened to that officer. I think he was Asian too, the matter of
Yeah,
fact.
yeah.
And I'm he was
He
he
was
was on
convicted of
probation, so I'm
manslaughter. Yeah.
he got in here. So um with that being said, accidents like that, like it's not easy just to say an accident. I'm not saying it. I just said it though. When we say an accident and somebody's life is lost, we don't equate it to people of. It's not equated to. You've never heard, and we've never heard of the that way in regards how like that's the mindset, that's the culture of a person, a law enforcement officer across the world will take the mentality that, oh, it was an accident. It was an accident. But like it's like how does one not see it's only an accident happening to a certain nationality? What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, look, you can have accidents, right? And you can have accidents that are fatal. I don't know statistically if ones that we'd have to really go through a lot, Bill, to figure out accidental shootings. And I think Gurley counts as an accidental, right? Like I can't say that we can't. The cop didn't even see him, right? The bullet hit a wall, and went up the stairs out of his view and hit Gurley.
Is that what happened? I thought he shot
Yeah,
him
yeah.
straight. I
No,
thought he
no,
shot him
this
straight.
it deflected off walls. It was,
Mhm.
it was more of it kind of, like I said, accidents happen. Accidental discharges happen. I don't think you can have an accidental 7 shots, but one, I could definitely lean towards an accident.
What do you think
Uh,
about Sean Bell? Was that an accident?
no,
You don't
no.
think it was an accident?
They, did he accidentally fired his gun? The cop?
Who, Oliver?
No, I don't think he accidentally fired his gun.
So I mean, I'm just saying, but I mean, he's unarmed, and a bunch of guys are getting shot. So that's, I mean,
Yeah,
you and I,
that's
you and I been in that situation. We definitely
uh,
can wonder. I was a ghost.
yep,
I definitely. We
yeah.
understand the officers dropped the ball all the way around, and it may have started with the ghost. I have no problem saying that. He took action. I'm not saying that he thought he saw something. I can't Monday morning quarterback what I wasn't there to see. But that scenario, stopping the guys, getting in the car and stuff like that, and then you pulling out a gun and yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
say they're gonna say his ID was out, but come on, you jump on the top of a car, your ID ain't out. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I mean,
Your
could
ID
your
ain't.
shield be hanging somewhere? Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah,
As a ghost, I'd say highly unlikely.
exactly,
As
exactly.
the pickup, the field team,
Yeah,
did I always pull my shield out of my jacket, my coat, no,
exactly, exactly.
you know, um, did I do it a majority of the time? Yeah, but on your hip, who sees it? Like it's an instantaneous. Does the person realize usually that you're a cop? Yeah, more often than not. But I
Well,
still
you
go
know
back
what?
to the training, Bill. I still just gotta. How many of these incidents we have seen and we're describing, if the cop was, or the cops were actually trained professionals in firearms, hand-to-hand combat, that the outcome would be completely different. You know, and I think it pay. While it's expensive to do all this training, I think it pays for itself in human lives alone. Just forget about that, right? I mean, what's that worth? A ton. But then lawsuits for the cities and states.
Well, let me just say this: ESU is the creme of the creme. We've never heard of them accidentally shooting anybody. Uh, they're trained to the best of to I guess that elite status to save, rescue, go after the monster. Warrants, we like NYPD has a real warrant squad, not the warrants that looking
Yep.
for PD or somebody. We're talking about the real hardened criminals.
Yep.
We're not hearing any accidental.
Now because they're training. ESU is constantly training. They're working on tactics. You just hit it on the head. They work on their tactics. When they do a search warrant, and after it goes, they do an after action report. What did we do? What could we improve on? What was right? What was wrong? They're reviewing and training all the time. That's the difference. Right. The rest of us who are out there sort of slumming it don't. And then S hits the fan, and there we go. Stefania asked, "What's a ghost?" Bill, you want to explain that since that's your?
Yes, I will. And coming by his vacation spot, we got Chuck Richards is in the building.
And I'm so sorry, brothers, man. The time difference, I totally forgot.
Chuck, a little bit. This is why I was sitting there.
I'm driving like a madman trying to.
Oh no! Don't worry about it.
I'm hoping I ain't got no TG, technology.
Yeah, Bill, Chuck, is it me or is Bill coming in broken up tonight?
I'm glad.
Yeah, I think Bill's coming in a little broken up. Yeah, I'm surprised I'm not coming in broken up.
I wasn't sure if it was my 2G tonight, just until it was showing slow. But I'm getting a lot of issues with your audio, Bill.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call in the super technician, my wife, to come and check it out. It's maybe storms is happening and maybe things are getting a little choppy, so I'll speak up a little louder for everybody.
It's not the
Chuck,
it's not
just
the louder.
Catch up to what we were talking about.
It's bouncing. Yeah,
I know.
Even people in the crowd are starting to say you got 2G tonight.
Yeah, I got 2G tonight. Yeah, I do. I got 2G tonight. And so happens that's my apartment number. Ain't that something? Right? I got 2G. So Stephanie, let me tell you what a ghost is. A ghost is an individual that he works in narcotics. It's probably one of the most hardest things to do in narcotics. You have to interact with the law enforcement. You're the eyes and ears for the field team in a buy and bust operation that consists of 6 or multiple numbers, depending on the case, or just a regular B&B, which we call a buy and bust. The day-to-day street level buy and bust. A ghost is the primary security to the undercover who's trying to purchase narcotics or guns or firearms or whatever he may be trying to purchase. He's the eyes and ears. He's the security, and he also is the information to the field team. He transmits information. It's like you see in the Jason Bourne movies, the guys with the things in the ears and or some kind of places. I was a ghost. I was one of the best in the Bronx. Pound for pound, I did what I had to do. That was my niche. It really was. And sometimes you're really not supposed to apprehend, but in case you do, if you don't want to lose the subject, if it's a case that the subject might disappear. So the ghost has to blend into the community, relay the transmission to the field team, which could be a Kevin or Chuck. The whereabouts of the undercover, what's happening with the undercover, who's the undercover engaged with. So it's a constant communication. It's almost like you become a ventriloquist while you're working in the field. And it's really very hard to do, but I mean, you take reward in making sure that people want to work with you. I was blessed that undercovers asked to work with me. It's reporting. So that's what Stephanie was trying to ask what a ghost was, and we were just talking about Chuck. Um, Law.
ESU and how well trained they are, and that's actually another question from the crowd. What is ESU?
Yeah. So any y'all want to discuss what ESU is? Go ahead, Chuck. I'll let you take that one.
Well, ESU is like most people see the sensationalism of what they see on TV called SWAT. I mean, if you related to that, I mean, maybe I'm telling my age, but when you were a kid, everyone, I am. It's so good, but it was like a big thing, whereas everyone thought of SWAT. So ESU is the same thing as what people see the sensationalism of what's on television, such as SWAT. And those are the guys that come in and handle a lot of the large jobs. When things get a little hairy, a little crazy, they come in with the special toys and the special weapons in order to deal with something as of a large scale situation, whether it be a hostage or whether it be an active shooter. Sometimes it's something simplistic at being able to maybe cut somebody out of a car because the car is maybe mangled and they need the jaws of life in order to cut someone out of a car. So if there's any heavy duty lifting, those are generally the gentlemen that you call upon.
Yeah, they are what you call, in layman terms, the elite ass kickers. You know what I'm saying? If you call SWAT or ESU, that's what they come to do. They come in to kick ass and take names later. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is in layman terms. I have a video I want to show you guys, and I really want your professional and personal feeling about this video. It's not that long, maybe about 20 minutes. I want all the listening audience to really look at this video. Oh, Mark said something. He said, "Thanks for answering, my guys. The reason I asked, it seems like so many who have never been in a situation like some are placed in always use the quick response argument, particularly regarding the case like the young lady that was killed with the knife. Being an officer of a city requires discipline and understanding, knowing when to use subtle force and deadly force. It's not an easy job, but so many active and retired officers are split, just like the country, on the matters of law enforcement. It definitely is a hard situation to deal with. I don't think a lot of people really are built for it. I think the world is starting to see that more and more. Uh-huh. So right now, we're going to do this split screen. Hold on.
I seem to be having a problem with my connection. Let me see if I can do it another way, because I keep losing you guys. I don't know if it's because of the 2G that might be in this house, so you have to excuse me.
So right now, I want to show you a video, and I don't want you to go to the book. I want to show you a video, and I want you to honestly break this video down after you see it and listen. In the Real Talk Chronicles audience, RTC audience, really tell me what you feel, Pamela. I know you're on YouTube. Let me know what you see and how you honestly feel from this video, because I just watched a brief bit of it before, and I already had some feelings about it. And I want you to break it down from what you thought the officer did good, bad, and what the young person is going through. All right, I'm gonna play it now.
All the time. It's a box truck, moving truck. It's full of furniture and stuff. The biggest thing with me, the reason I wanted to search it, was his nervousness and acting nervous, and he didn't want me coming in the passenger side. He wanted me to come to the driver's side. So he gets here, runs the dog. The guy's still super nervous. I mean, we've been here 15 minutes. He's super nervous, shaking, voice is trembling. When he runs the dog,
Hold on. I want to go back to the beginning. I don't think I went to the beginning. Let's see what happens. I'll play it again.
The dog alerts all the time. It's a box truck, moving truck. It's full of furniture and stuff.
How did we get to
the biggest thing with me, the reason I wanted to search it,
I wanted to
his nervousness and acting nervous, and he didn't
I
want me
wanted to
coming
get to
from the
them
passenger
when
side,
they
want me come to the
before
driver's
this.
side.
That's all right.
So Hugh gets here, runs the dog.
Let's see.
The guy's still super nervous. Man, we've been here 15 minutes. He's super nervous, shaking, voice trembling.
Hold on,
When he runs the dog, she comes up the passenger side and she stops and alerts between the cab and the box. And I don't know enough about dogs and stuff, what they could alert on that might not be narcotics, you know what I mean?
No, that's not it, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. I have to, because that's not it. Let me see.
Now we all see what happens when Bill takes over the video services.
Yeah, trying to get the act. I want to see it from the beginning of this one. I think right here. Well, I want it from the beginning. Yes.
The dog alerts all the time. It's a box.
Okay, you have to tell me what you're looking for.
I'm looking for the one where initially where he pulls him over and stops him.
Bill, if you fast forward that video you had, it may show it as it's going. Like it's showing you the end, and then it might go back and like it's a news report. You know, sometimes.
All right. All right. I'll just play it. All right.
I mean, he does a thorough.
Yeah. All right. There it is. It was okay. Good. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Just give it a moment.
He's making me go to his vehicle.
Calm down. You're on camera. I don't know. You almost wrecked your truck, so I'm kidding. There's something over here. You put your hand out. What? Where are you headed to?
I'm going to Little Rock. And,
what's that?
I wanted to stop a night here.
Okay.
But I'm going to Little Rock.
So you're not going to stay here now? Or?
I do want to stay here. Daddy, I missed the turn, and now I need to figure out how I get over back here to 81.
I can give you instructions. Where are you coming from today?
From Fayetteville.
Oh, okay. What do you got? What are you going to Little Rock for? You live in Little Rock?
That's where I live.
Oh, okay. What's going on in Fayetteville?
That's where I go to school.
Oh, okay. You go to school every fall?
Yes. Classes are remote, so I'm moving back home. And my parents didn't want me to stay tonight because of COVID-19. House. I'm staying in another place for 2 weeks, but I can't move into that.
Okay.
I'm staying into another apartment with my parents.
Why don't you just go all the way today?
Because I can't move in tonight.
You've been moving into Little Rock?
Yes. I can't go all the way tonight, and I just might.
Okay.
I just have to pay a hotel. I thought it would be cheaper.
What's in here? You like your furniture and stuff?
Everything.
Okay. All right, hang tight right there with this second, okay? You still nervous? You still look nervous?
Still nervous.
Is there anything illegal in there or anything?
Not at all.
You got no guns or drugs?
I don't have anything in there.
Okay. All right, nothing to be nervous about. You're not even get a ticket. Yeah. Anytime. Yeah, super nervous. Hands are trembling, voice is shaky. He's got his dad on the phone. I don't know why you wouldn't just go all the way to Little Rock from Fayetteville instead of stopping 1 hour before. Who rented the truck?
You said what?
Who rented the truck?
I did.
You did? Okay. All right. When did you rent the truck?
Yesterday.
Okay. Then you gotta take it, you turn it back into Fayetteville, or?
I don't.
Pick it up in Fayetteville?
I'm sorry. Sir, I'm trying to. You have probable cause to stop me.
Yeah, you got rent your truck back there. That's why I stopped you.
Okay.
That's a line back.
I did it. I almost went into the exit. And I was like, I don't. I think that's the right exit or not. I've never stopped in Russellville.
That's what they do. That's just my job. Make sure nobody gonna have a wreck out here.
Okay, but now you're asking all these other questions.
Yeah, because you're super nervous. So I'm trying to figure out why you're so nervous.
What I need to do?
Okay. Well, is there anything illegal here?
Nothing.
So do you mind if I look real quick?
No, I do. I do. Can't
you do mind?
Yes.
Okay. What if I bring a dog out here?
No, I can't do it. It's like you said it doesn't have anything to do with the potential wreck.
Okay, so here's how it works. I get probable cause to stop you. I did that. When I get up here and make contact with you, you're super nervous. Your hands are shaking, they're still shaking. Your voice is shaky. So then that makes me suspicious that it's more than just you missed your exit. Okay?
But my mom does not want me to be driving at night, and that's why I stopped in Russellville for the first time, or I'm trying to stop in Russellville.
I just saw, and it's confusing why you wouldn't just drive on to Little Rock. It's an hour away. But if I bring a dog, is it going to hurt on anything?
Yeah, no, it's going to hurt on anything. I promise you. I honestly just don't want to get shot. Yeah, that's all, and I'm sorry about that. It happens. I know it happens. So I don't talk because I don't think that's fair to me as a citizen, as someone who, if the only thing I did was kind of like I did not almost wreck my car.
No, but quick, I'll get you down the road. I don't have to bring it down.
I just think that's so invasive of my rights, but you can look in here if you like to.
So I have a seat right there. I'm gonna get a dog out there.
No, I don't. I want. You can. I don't. You said just look. Is it just look or the dog? I'm just really nervous now because I know I've done it. I'm 32 years old.
You're a grown man. Have you ever had any bad deals with the police?
I haven't, honestly.
Have a seat right there and talk to your dad. I'm gonna get the dog out here.
He's getting the dog out. There's nothing
on the bumper.
This is fair, Dad. Like, he's gotta take a. Can I get in?
Yeah, we're just gonna stand aside so this dog don't bite us. So your dad's alive?
Yes, he is.
Are you gonna become a lawyer too? Is that the plan?
It was the plan.
Are you looking at the dog? You scared to look at the dog? All right, do me a favor. Lay that on the front of my car. Hand right here.
So he said the dog sniffed something. I didn't hear anything, but the dog sniffed something.
Put your phone down. Put your hands right here on the front car.
I got it.
Put your hands right here.
I gotta stay on the phone. He's making me put my hands on the bar.
Okay, step back.
He's checking me.
Step back.
He's making me step back.
Spread your feet apart.
Let me
see your left hand. Let me see your left hand.
He wants my left hand.
Put it right here.
He's arresting me. He's arresting me. He's arresting me.
Give me your other hand.
He's arresting me, Daddy. There's nothing in that vehicle. I promise you.
Okay, come here.
I didn't do anything.
Have a seat back.
Daddy, there's nothing in that vehicle. I'm just going home.
Okay, wait right here.
Wow. Everything is.
Okay, you don't have anything on you?
I don't have anything on me.
Whatever you think. What's that?
I'm just 4.5. Well, that was good. We can order it up front.
I don't see any clothes.
Lots of good.
Yeah. That's it.
Bill, did you catch the time when this started? I can see the time now is 20:45 on there.
No.
I know there was sun before. There was more than.
They've had them out there for a long time, probably.
Take 20 cars. We're 10-4. We don't need any more checks.
Dog in?
Oh, yeah. He can hardly pull her away. It was outside right in front of.
Bill, it's. I mean, I'm not seeing anything with the video at this point. It's standing still. Your 2G kicked back in. Looks like Bill's having some tech issues. It's usually me with the 2G problem. Oh, there we go. We've lost Bill.
It smells kind of.
How much more is left in this, Bill?
I don't think it would be. But that bottom corner on the driver's side is just as hard. I guess had body work down over there too. So maybe a lot of work.
Bill, someone's asking, what are they taking apart?
Something something from the truck.
So people will see it.
I'm sorry, did they find something in it?
No.
Yeah, I don't have a scope or anything.
Yeah, bad girl.
Would it help to get her inside the back? Probably not. So come up here. The dog alerts all the time. It's a box truck, moving truck. It's full of furniture and stuff. The biggest thing with me, the reason I wanted to search it, was his nervousness and acting nervous, and he didn't want me coming in the passenger side. He wanted me coming to the driver's side. So Hugh gets here, runs the dog. The guy's still super nervous. Man, we've been here 15 minutes. He's super nervous, shaking, voice is trembling. When he runs the dog, she comes up the passenger side and she stops and alerts between the cab and the box part of the truck. And he's ran her up there 4 or 5 times. We've searched the whole back of the truck, everything in the cab. The only thing that looks, a lot of these bolts and stuff kind of look tooled a little bit. We've got bolts where the cab components are. And there's some body work done to the bottom of the truck. You can see what's been sanded and it's got like Bondo on it. I don't know. I don't have a drill or anything or a scope, so I don't know what. 2 days ago, he ran it in Fayetteville on the 18th, and he's going to turn it in a Little Rock tomorrow. So he's got it for 4 days to go Fayetteville to Little Rock. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Well, of course, now, and I don't know enough about dogs and stuff, what they could alert on that might not be narcotics, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's, Right. So. Well, from my point of view, the way you were acting and the way you were getting excited, it's safer for you to be back there than to be out here and get hit by a car. And it's for us, it's hard to search a vehicle.
I'm sorry, this is interrupt you, sir. I just want to get you a ride.
I thought, okay, well, I was trying to explain what was going on, but I guess it doesn't matter to you, does it? Well, the dog says different. So if it's not your dope, there's somebody else's that was in there or is in there. We just can't get to it. You're not going to die, so you can quit acting like that. If you got something to say, just say it. I mean, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
I just really want to go home. I told you I'm moving from Fayetteville. You see how well I packed that car?
Well, I don't know if it'll. I mean, it's not going to change anything. The dog's alerting on.
I know, but I didn't even deserve the dog. You know that. You know that.
Okay. Well, the dog gave me probable cause. Well, before I had reasonable suspicion.
Okay.
So there's nothing going on wrong or illegal here.
I wish you would listen to my criminal procedure professor.
Well, you should maybe go to troop school, and you know where I'm coming from. Well, there's a lot of difference between being a lawyer and a police officer. And police officers get shot too.
You searched me for an hour and a half.
I didn't search you.
Yes, I mean, you searched my vehicle for an hour and a half.
That's not even your vehicle.
Turned off of an interstate.
That is perfectly legal. Everything is.
Legal, but do you think that's fair? Would you like if your son was behind someone like this with handcuffs as tight that my wrist would probably be?
Well, if you would have acted more normal.
And act normal. I was nervous because I was like.
You were screaming out there.
I wasn't screaming at all. You know I didn't scream.
You didn't scream when I was putting you in handcuffs.
Yes, at that.
Yeah.
Before, that's after you put me in handcuffs. Because I put in handcuffs and you searched my car for an hour and a half. I didn't find anything like I told you. I gave you great reasons. And your reasonable suspicion, I have no idea where it comes from, but it was because you said nervousness was my reasonable suspicion. And
not alone.
I'm sorry, I'm in Russellville. You know what Russellville is like, people like me. So
I grew up in Russellville. There's nothing wrong with being black in Russellville. That's what you're trying to say, that I stopped because you're black. And I have no idea that you're black when I see you about to wreck off the road.
I think there must be some mistake. Because you're black.
You are. He is.
You saw me, but you said you saw me 5 miles before that. So
I saw this vehicle.
You distinguished me as a person then.
Okay. Well, and I was following a California car too before that. And I stopped white people. I got a white person with meth yesterday. So
they had meth. And were they in this car for an hour? I'm crazy.
They were in the car for like 2 hours.
I'm losing it right now.
Well, if you don't get pulled over, you won't get your vehicle searched. If the dog didn't alert, I told you I wasn't going to search the car if the dog didn't alert, but he alerts 10 times.
The first alert, I barely heard a bark.
That's not how he barks. That's not how he alerts.
I heard him afterwards barking. When I was
he's alerting again.
That other time, that was just like.
So you're a canine handler too now?
I'm sorry, sir.
So you know how I should do my job? You know how he should do his job?
I'm so sorry. I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah. I was trying to tell you the dog wasn't alerting to your stuff. He's alerting to the vehicle, which is a rental. So it could possibly be that somebody had something in there before you picked it up. Is that not possible? All right, you're stuff on the front of the car. You're good to go. you want.
All right. So there we have it. Okay, let me get out of here. No. Let me do that. How do I come out of this?
Stop sharing.
Okay. So what's up, everybody? That's Real Talk Chronicles here. I got you back, Chuck. I see you. I'm coming to get you. Lo and behold. Okay, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. This is what it is. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti. If you like it, share it, subscribe to it on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, share it, please. Let a friend know what we do here. All right, I'm going to start with you, Kevin. Tell me what you saw from that stop.
So I want to go not the stop itself, but I want to kind of go over what I believe is the officer's mindset, what goes on these highways first.
Okay,
so
you're going there. You're going to his mindset. Okay.
No, not this mindset. What he's doing, right? Like, so on the interstates, the bigger highways in our country, troopers go on those, and part of their duty is to look for vehicles for interdictions, for drugs and drugs and drug money. And I will tell you, I read reports on this fairly often. There are some spectacular seizures that go on because of it. So what do? You're pulling over people for traffic violations on I-95, on highways coming out of Texas into the middle of the country, the bigger interstates, because that's where our drugs come from. When you're pulling someone over, it's something similar to what Customs does with questioning you, right? So you question the person a little bit, you talk to them, and this officer went on just the base of the guy being nervous, right? I can't say, that was the best stop I've ever seen. But I wanted to go backwards into that. What is being done? The troopers, they're pulling over cars, talking to people. Part of their agenda and their duty is to look for these vehicles with large amounts of drugs coming from the south to the north. And the only way to do that is you got to, like I said, you stop people, you learn as you go on as a cop what is suspicious, what's not, and you're going to, make some mistakes along the way, and it's something you learn with time and experience. So that's my background on the whole thing, not this particular incident. Is it normal for a guy to be nervous? Yeah. Is that one of the signs we look for when we're stopping somebody's vehicle and we're talking about, can we search your car? Yeah. I didn't find this guy nervous. I didn't find him suspicious. I didn't find him requiring the extra, the whole dog and pony show. That's my quick assessment. I have a child here wants to say goodnight. I'm going to pause for a moment.
All right, I'll let Chuck give me his assessment, and then I'll give mine, and I'll read some of the comments. Go ahead.
Well, what?
Go ahead, Chuck.
I mean, I agree in regards to what the overall reason behind why they make these stops, and I could see why, because of course we all know what highway does and what some of these interstate and a lot of the troopers do. But I didn't see any clear indication other than the frustration of the motorist that he was being stopped. He has a mission at hand. He's trying to get from A to B. To ride a truck. Yeah, they look at out of state plates, make an assessment, thinking maybe there's something in it that he's being transported. But I didn't see any indication directly related on the driver that would have given me a suspicion to say that there was something in the vehicle. I mean, he seemed very articulate. There was no issues in terms of the dialogue. And I'm sorry, if I'm a black man, you pull me over and you got that Smokey the Bear hat on, and we're on the side of the road. I'm sorry, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm a brother.
Yeah.
You got that Smokey the Bear hat on, And now, while I'm going to be nervous, you're pulling me out of a truck. I'm on a major highway. There are cars flying by. I already understand the culture associated with exchanges between, officers and especially black men. And yeah, I may be nervous. And then if that's something that, cops are now looking at as a reason for reasonable suspicion, then I think you have to have a little more body language than that. I mean, he asked them everything and anything in its entirety. And he even went so as far as saying, well, yeah, I do mind if you look, in my truck. Now, I've been in narcotics off and on for 26 years. I'm just telling you, those dogs, if they smell a fucking ham sandwich, they're gonna get a hit. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Right? They'll smell something, a ham sandwich, they're hungry, you don't know what they did during the course of the day, and they start going buck wild because they got a sandwich or they smelt there was food. So sometimes even those dogs, they're not 100% on the money, and now all of a sudden, oh, we definitely got hit. No, I'm sorry. So that's another issue based on my personal experience being narcotics. I know every time we call on the dog, I mean, how many times was the dog wrong? I mean, the dog came up to me, started barking, smelled like there was something on me. And I don't do drugs. I was a part of the field, but it was going to bark wild. Maybe the dog didn't like black people. I don't know. I'm just saying overall. Dogs hit, and sometimes they bark, and they hit on certain areas, and you don't know what it's for. So I don't even see a dog being a reason or suspicion or probable cause. I mean, in my book. So, I mean, that's just my personal opinion based on what I've dealt with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it from everybody. I'm going to read some of the comments, and then I'm going to give you my assessment of this. Camille said, what a donkey this cop is. The guy was nervous for exactly what just happened to him. Thank God he is okay. Paula said, what kind of statement is that? You're not going to die. And then also he said what he should do, go to church more often. Tanisha, what's up, Tanisha? My niece is in the building. Shout out to you. Um, she also said, I'm a proud black mommy of black men. All I want to know is this is why do white people hate us so much? We built this country. What did we do that makes you hate me? What why are we always the enemy? My brothers and sisters, why? Camille said, Darren said, he said, and this is where I'm going to come into. He said, Kevin starts off justifying the officer's actions. No surprise there. Um, Tanisha said, why is that? There's always nervous when it's us. So everyone wants to be good, but now they arrest. So what? First and foremost, if y'all remember, he said, Pamela said, I agree. He wasn't overly nervous at the cop at the top of the stop. It appears to me white cops have zero emotional intelligence when it comes to black and brown people. So I'll tell you what I saw. It is an officer's job to find crime, as you kind of stated, Kevin, and Chuck, and we all agree that's that's the job, to assess a crime. Pamela said the young man said he was nervous because that he knows police encounters can get left. ESP when he have cops that bullets are dead set on criminalizing a black person. Chuck, you stated he was articulate. Kevin, you stated, the cops mental. We talk about seizures, sometimes getting drugs. First and foremost, the officer told him he didn't commit a crime. He pulled him over because he saw that he almost had an accident. So he pulled him over to inquire what happened. The gentleman stated, I wasn't sure about the exit. So I almost made a mistake. I didn't know which way to go. So I stopped and tried to figure out where I was going. The officer says, you're nervous. How many times have officers used that you're nervous to continue a search, to segue into a search? What person doesn't get nervous when they get pulled over by an officer? And especially a person of color. I don't even know what happens with white people. I can't speak for white people. I can't speak for Latin people. Only they can speak for themselves. But I know people of color, I still get a little spidey tingly if I get pulled over by law enforcement. So that is absolutely factual. And today's climate, what the officer said later on, if you heard it, oh, now because you black, you wasn't going to get shot. The gentleman stated why he's nervous. For the officer now to go into this investigative note, where you going, where you coming from. That was typical. I answered your questions. Now I don't want to, I feel I don't have to answer your questions, and you get upset. Now we want to see whose penis is bigger, right? Because now the fact that you didn't want to answer my questions anymore because he didn't have to. Now it's like, well, you're nervous. Well, I told you I was nervous because I'm afraid of the interaction. He's on the phone with his father. If you notice something that the officer said later on, he says, the dog is not wrong. Basically, you're wrong. Then he says, the dog found the drugs. We just don't know where the drugs are. But somebody could have had the truck before you. But he was going to arrest him if he found them drugs. Is that facts or not? So we can sit there and talk all that drugs, I was looking for it, and all that stuff. Like you said, Pamela, straight bullying. So let me just say some things that I wrote down. He opens up an investigation. Told him he wasn't going to get a ticket. But then he straight wants to go into my cop instincts because you're nervous. He explained what happened in regards to that. I'm reading all this. I thought he was disrespectful after a while. How come officers don't understand? And Kevin, I need to ask you that, because what is it that officers don't get about a black or a brown person being nervous anymore? What is it that an officer has to feel nervousness is an excuse to search me and stop me? You understand what I'm saying? Can you give me some insight? Because go ahead.
Sure. So it's two things with that one. One, I'll go back to our training. We're taught that. When you're talking to somebody, them being nervous as part of a clue, right? So that's part of, you're taught that I could say from the academy to as a rookie cop, when somebody's nervous,
So let me just say
we
this.
do that. I do that with my kids, right? When they're talking to me and they're nervous and talking, I'm like, somebody's lying to me, right? Like, I think it's part of human nature. Are we teaching it now to say we should be, understand that people are, you can agree or disagree, but it doesn't matter how you feel about it as a cop. People are afraid. And so being nervous is normal. And I'm with you, Bill. There's plenty of times I've been pulled over and I get my heart raced, right? Like it's a normal reaction. So it is, there's levels of nervousness. All right. Look, I can go back to the days you and I worked together. All right. We're going to go out and we're going to do a narcotics set within the precinct. And for us, when we did narcotics sets, Bill and I, one of us, two of us would go on a roof together, binoculars, watch people deal drugs on a corner. You and I back then could drive down to 100, say 12th and 7th. Look at the corner of 5 guys hanging out, and in an instant, pick the kid who's going to be the one who's actually dealing. And then we go on a roof and watch, and that would be the kid dealing. We developed an instinct for it. It's hard to explain, to articulate what we actually physically saw, but you get a thing. There is different levels of nervousness.
So let me ask you a question. What you were saying, all that, you said earlier in the show before Chuck got on that there needs to be better training in the academy, but now you're just justifying the training. Wait a minute. I'm just saying now you're just justifying the training as.
I'm not justifying the training. I'm saying that's part of the training. Yeah. Okay. I'm saying, look, I would say our training needs to be better. That's not going to change.
Okay. So now we've had a trained eye in drugs. That was our field. That was our expertise. So of course you, Chuck, and myself could be able to pick out who's the pitcher, who's the muscle, who's the money man, as we articulated in court when we testify. But what did you see in this video that made you feel that the officer should have kept going on, like he had probable cause? Because what was the because officers always say, don't be disrespectful, don't do this. So that gentleman right there did everything that officers say they want, and he still got abused. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the cop went too far. I'm not arguing all that. I was given the background of why these happen, these car stops, what the cop is looking for, what his job is supposed to be. Do I think he went too far? Yeah. Do I think this guy fit the category of somebody to me who was suspicious? No. You know, and I don't like saying that. I don't like to say I think that the cop was wrong. And I'm with both of you guys. Like the dog, I'm not a big fan of the dogs, and maybe in these other departments they have much better track record with dogs. I've only seen the dog used a couple of times, and it was unsuccessful at best. You know, I don't like dogs. I don't like lie detector tests. I've seen them fail. So I don't, you know, knowing people is knowing people. It's a much different thing, and you can only learn that from some training and a lot of street experience.
What's your take, Chuck? What do you want to add on?
But, once again, man, I mean, there was a particular level that I didn't see that was reached for the purposes of them having to go as far as he calling the dog. I mean, once again, this was generally, and it's supposed to have been a call for service, right? He happened to be in the area. He saw him kind of veer off. He wanted to make sure that everything was all right. He didn't smell like alcohol, right? He explained very clearly that he missed his exit. He realized he was in the wrong place. He asked him several other questions, which didn't lead me to believe there was any level of reasonable suspicion. And then after that, the most kindest thing he could have done was, okay, let me, you're all right, no problem. You know where you're going from here. If you want, let me show you how to get back on the foot, whatever the case may be. But then, once again, when you start these lines of questioning, of course, automatically out of the gate, as a black man, you're going to get nervous because you know that this shit can go south.
Yeah.
You got me off the side of the road with cars speeding, and you're asking me all these questions. Well, because, I missed my exit, or maybe I might have veered off to the right of it. And then you realize, okay, first thing, when you pull me out, I don't smell like alcohol. I'm speaking very articulately. I'm telling you where I'm on my way to. I'm just moving some furniture. I'm going to go see my mama, whatever it is. At that point, there's no reasonable suspicion. I mean, there's nothing that would lead me to believe that maybe now we have to go so far as going through the truck. I mean, they don't just go through the truck. They start dismantling furniture. And then the guy has the audacity to make these little underhanded comments. You need to go to church or, and then what do? Oh, you just give him a piece of paper at the end of it. And then, this is what I do. I'm sorry. Just go about your business. You know what? I don't, golly knows. That man was there for almost 2 hours.
Yo,
I mean,
let me tell you something. Almost 2 hours, Chuck. Almost 2 Chuck. So disgusting that the fact that he kept him there almost 2 hours, and what's so funny? That's why I can't wait to Kevin come back, because I'm tired of hearing white officers talk about we was nervous. Come on now, we know the difference of nervous of a crime. That young boy was articulate. He was respectful. Yeah. And then he talk about, and the fact that he said he's 32, then he's like, oh, well, you're a man. Doesn't mean you can't get nervous. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. You know what I'm saying? And we need to understand that and stop justifying BS behavior, and then talk about, well, I'm just doing my job. Well, you're doing your job real different than me, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me read some of the comments, everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti, and our special host, Charles Chuck Richards. Let me see. They have always been trained. Tanisha said they have always been trained. How much more training do they need? We only dead. We're the only ones. Speak that my kid nervous because he don't want to be on the news dead. Hands up. We're scared we're going to die, really, because you a cop. You can kill me. That's how has to stop. She said your heart race. Are you killing me? Once they see you or a white man, their hands comes off the trigger, and you are effing serious. Mark said, exactly. I would like to call my attorney. He didn't place him under arrest. Had he found anything in the truck? that brother would have been in the hot water. Exactly. When you make a statement that, well, the truck could have had drugs and somebody rented it before you, you were still going to arrest him. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, this is like kind of BS after a while. Getting into long conversations with police officers on a vehicle stop usually doesn't work out well for the driver. Absolutely. Tanisha said Blue Wall, that is really so. He is dead because the cop was scared. What's up, Vanetta? Everybody, like I said, Kev, Kev, let me ask you a question. And I can only ask you because we try to get a lot of thoughts from your eyes and your ethnicity. Like, why is it that officers just don't understand, and white officers just don't understand, like how people of color feel and how officers use the system to take advantage of the situation. Pamela said his skin color had him suspicious. Just say it. I think she was talking about you, Kevin, when you stepped away. Eddie Vieira's in the building. He said, I completely disagree with street experiences on the job. You must have it beforehand. I've been saying this for years. Chuck said it a while back. You must be an officer in an area you knew, and or grew up in. Go ahead. Darren said, does Kevin understand this is why some people don't like cops? Go ahead, Kev. I'll let you answer.
Well, I mean, to that quick question, yeah, look, I get it, right? But also, if you see an incident with a cop and it's a bad thing, a bad incident, bad cop, and then you're going to look at other cops as bad, we're growing it. There's a massive divide, and all I see is it's growing. And that's not what I'm in for, right? Like, that's kind of why we're here and we're talking.
So how do we solve? How do we change? And that's why I was saying to you earlier, Kevin. How do we change the culture of that? Because the first thing, I can only give you, and that's why I said from a African American, that can happen to me to this day. The only thing that hopefully might de-escalate the situation is the way I'm going to articulate myself, because if hopefully I have a coolness about me and I have that trump card that says, excuse that word, I hate that name.
You got to come up with a different phrase, Bill.
Yes, I am. That will hopefully de-escalate the officer. But like I've told you, I've been on the highway going back and forth when I lived in DC, I mean in the DMV area. And the officer asked me, why am I going down to Maryland? I answered him. I lied to him because it was none of his business. Like, you're opening up an investigation. Like, what is that? Is that like? And I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm saying this with no disrespect to you at all. But is that like a white cop's way of starting off an investigation? Where you going? Where you coming from? I really don't know, because black officers, I don't think they do that. Chuck, did you do that? I didn't pull nobody over and say, where you going? Where you coming from? Yo, I'm pulling you over and I'm telling you what you did. Now, if you tell me you call out a code name, if you say Kevin Branzetti or Chuck Richards, okay, now the situation is going to get a little different. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't care where you're going. I got pulled over from the park police on Riverside Drive one time. She pulls me over, boop, boop, boop. So I was like, hey, she comes out the car. Where you going? I said, to the gym. She starts laughing. I said, well, you asked. I said, what you pull me over for? She said, oh, your tail light out. I was like, oh, okay. Well, she said, never mind. Have a nice day. You ass.
Bill, I asked lots of people when I pulled them over where they're going.
Why? Please tell me why.
I was taught that. I was taught to do that. I was taught to do that. So let me give you two reasons.
I'm glad you answered that question. I'm glad you answered. What did that lead you to? Like, when they taught you
part of it was I would write that, like, so if I gave you a summons, right? I'm going
to mommy's house. You wrote that down.
A moving violation. Yeah, as a comment you wrote, I was taught to ask a couple of questions and to engage the person because, one of the issues you had going to court later on was, that wasn't me in that car. I wasn't the one, I don't recall. I wasn't driving it. Was that extra little notes about a personal part of a conversation with the person helped in those cases. That's what I was taught. And did I also use that with people of, pulling them over to go, where are you going? Yeah, to get the story that didn't match the building they just came out of. Yeah. As part of an investigation. So I used it twofold. And I used that as because I saw you come out of a building I know sells PCP. And get into your car.
But that's different, though. That's different.
So, but I'll give you two examples. I did it on a normal car stop. Pulled you over for red light. License. I was not a robot. It wasn't license, registration. Went to my car, wrote the ticket, handed it back to you. I asked those questions. I asked a couple of personal questions, and it was for that purpose. It was to put in my book on something that they said, something that gave that car stop a different than every other the average car stop was I was told. I can't tell you who told me that back 100 years ago.
Let me interject for a second, Chuck. I understand when you're doing red light overtime or you're doing moving violations and you pull somebody over, you put in your memo book so you can have a great testimony in court. Let's not get this different, Kevin. That's totally different. If you're given a violation, I understand that. So you talk about testimony. We're talking about pulling Jane and John Q. Public over. We didn't say you gave them a ticket. You already gave them a ticket. So you're giving them a ticket. So you're telling me that in your initial car stop, you're going to go right into an investigatory mentality, and you're not even going to tell a person what they did.
And I'm not going to tell them what they did.
No, you said you don't. You said you tell them. You don't tell them what they did initially. You ask them where they're coming from because you want to put it in your book. That's what.
Oh no, I didn't say I didn't say I didn't tell them what they did. I didn't say that. But I said it's part of a conversation. Okay. Would I tell them what they're getting the pulled over for? What they're getting the summons for? Yeah. In the end, Bill, I was a big softy, right? Like I did not write many moving violations. Didn't like writing them. Didn't like giving people. Screwing their insurance money.
Right.
So very few people got a ticket out of me.
I mean, I'm gonna be very honest with you. When I first came on, and let's say there were certain areas that it was called Washington Heights, right? Washington Heights, but it was called Clean Heights. So they would give us foot posts in certain areas that were like 160, Broadway over by Audubon Avenue. Well, you knew. I mean, I'll give you. When I saw a car coming through a certain area that I knew was drug prone and it had Jersey plates, I was pulling that car over. Especially if I saw it sitting someplace too long and it's sitting there. I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna cut. And I'm watching this car with Jersey plates. And now all of a sudden somebody comes out of a building and they start to drive off. I'm pulling that car over, because now based on the environment, or based on the circumstances, or because the volatility within that particular community, that, all right, that's directed. Now I'm going to ask questions. Where you coming from? Well, I already saw somebody get in the car, so I already knew where you came from. So if you start lying to me, now I know I got you. I know there's something in the car. It's apparent that you picked up something. But to just arbitrarily just
and Chuck, but Chuck, all of those stops you've done doing that, and I agree with you on doing those. Now I'm going to go into further what I would do is how many times did you do that though, and the person was innocent? It happens. Every car stop you did for suspicion of drugs, the guy had drugs on and you arrested him.
Honestly speaking, yes, every time. So I've never made any arbitrary car stop just because, unless like you said, I've never made a car stop just because I saw someone that was driving through a neighborhood. I just pulled them up because we're in a truck. No, I usually was sitting someplace in the cut, and I'm sitting and watching, and I'm observing.
Very specific. There's an action. Look, I'll be honest with you. Like we're way past the years of being there. Did I profile back in the tweet? Yeah, white kids from the suburbs.
Of course, absolutely.
Absolutely. White kids from the suburbs, right? You'd watch them drive in the car too. One gets out of the car and goes into a building, comes back out, goes in the car. They were getting pulled over.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
And did it work? Overwhelming majority of the time it
Yeah.
worked. And actually
Yeah.
it worked. Suburb kids were stupid. Like you just ask them, did you get drugs? And they're like, yeah. Can I see them? Yeah, here you go.
Here you go. Right.
And I can't tell you how many times that happened. You know,
But
is that an evil
you know what's
phrase
so
of
funny, Kevin? Let me interject for a second, and I'll just read some comments. But you are so right. That did happen. That did work for the white kids. But a lot of times, this is where it got a little distorted because can a person, and it happened to me with my old partner Kim and I, we left my building, went upstairs, came back, got in the car, drove off, and another officer. We drove off Manhattan North, pulls us over. Guy comes out, gun in the face, all that. And I'm like, yo, I said, yo, this cops are they coming for us. Pulls us over, gun in the face. I couldn't even leave my own home because you thought it was a drug transaction. Because a person of color can't go upstairs and then come back downstairs real quick because I forgot something and I had to go get it and I came back down, or my partner wants to use the bathroom, or I had to use the bathroom, and I'm not gonna let you sit in the car because I needed the keys at the time because back then cars.
But Bill, I gotta say, I might have pulled you over too, right? You just described, those buildings where we knew drugs were sold in there. If you ran in and out of the building quick, you would have got pulled over by me.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I mean, most of what I did was white kids doing
sorry,
that.
I guess I'm guilty by skin, right?
No, most of the people I did doing that were white kids. I don't,
No, but you just said
so what I
me.
do is, it's the same thing. If you ran into that building, it came out.
I said my building. I said my building. I didn't say that building.
How would I know it was your building?
And that's my point.
I would have to, but I would have to know your building. Meaning, Bill, I didn't pull over kids coming out of any building. I knew the building, right? Like I knew 110 West 114th Street sold PCP. So I saw a white kid go in there. He was getting pulled over. If he went into 114 West 114, he wasn't getting pulled over.
Kevin, let me just say this.
So if you went into a building I knew and you lived and I didn't, you went in and out of a building I knew sold drugs, I'd pull you over. If you just went into a building and came out and I didn't know the building, no, I'm not pulling you over.
Kevin, but
you know what? I'm gonna say something. The same point also goes in reverse because at some point, if they saw a brother and he was coming out of a building below 125th Street or below 110th, and he was a black guy and he was in like 96th Street in Lexington, and he was coming out of a building, a sector car drove by, they automatically would stop him. Like, what are you doing? Where you coming from? What do you mean? My aunt lives here. Your aunt lives here on 93rd and 2nd or 82nd or somewhere in Midtown. Then you would get stopped because they would look at you as now being suspicious because you're in the wrong neighborhood. Like, what are you doing down here? I mean, that's changed, thank God, based on gentrification. But I can remember numerous times where I would visit a friend that might be on West End Avenue at some point, and I'm coming out of a building, and someone from that precinct will pull over and they'll stop me. So what are you doing? Because they think maybe I'm committing a burglary, I'm breaking into the building or something like that. Because I'm a black man and I'm below 110th Street. So why am I down there? So it's in reverse too, unfortunately. But that used to bother the hell out of me. I can't be below 110th Street, but that's why I'm sorry. I'm not nothing against you, brother. When I saw used to get them white cats coming up watching nights, they were coming out of them buildings. I didn't hesitate snatching their ass.
Neither did I. I still remember one we brought in. It was probably me and Eddie C. We brought him into the cell, and the guy he waves me over to the cell, and he whispers because there's other prisoners in the cell. He whispers to me, he goes, "You can't put me in with them." And I'm like, Bill, you know me, I'm a bit of a wise ass, right? So I speak much louder now. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't go in with them? Why? What's different about them that you can't be with them? And I threw him in the cell and walked away. He spent his night with them, and got himself a good lesson in life.
But Kev, what I wanted to say before I read some of the comments and statements is that I don't want you to take yourself out of your drug snooping days. And we're talking about car stops because this officer in the clip that I just showed made it a drug stop. It wasn't a drug stop. He made it a drug stop. So you have been, hold on, Kevin, you've been talking from the point of you're searching for drugs. I'm talking about John and Jane Q. public, and we're concentrating on what we did. The three of us did. So how we analyzed and dissected who was this and that. I take that hat off because now you're justifying you're chasing for drugs. This was a person on the highway that made a mistake. We all made that same mistake. Oh, is this exit my exit? Cause I got pulled over. Let me tell you something. One time I was coming from somewhere deep in Jersey and got tired and got out the car and stretched on the side of the road. And all of a sudden, the trooper came over. Yo, I was like, yo, I put my hands up. I was like, yo, NYPD. And I was active at this time. I was like, NYPD, bop, bop, bop. He was like, well, why'd you pull over here? I said, because I'm tired. I had to stretch. I was falling asleep. He said, well, this is not a good place. All right. Then he goes up to my car and looks into my car. I had the door open. I said, like, I wanted to say, punk. I said, I'm stretching. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's always the reason of suspicion against us gets to another level and then officers get mad when we get offended that you just didn't take our word. You asked me. And like my man said in the movie, he said, when you asked me, I told you. You know what I'm saying? Let me just read some of the comments. Tanisha said, I pay taxes. I teach my kids to protect the law, but when we are the only ones in the news that are dead. Jose Plaza, former Real Talk brother, he said, Bill, what's up, my brother? One of the biggest issues is the excuse. This is why we are taught in the academy. I learned a lot growing up. Nothing oversees what my mother taught me. She raised me in faith, and no job training can take me away from that. Absolutely. Darren said, because Kevin defends the actions most of the time. Paula said, but the only problem is Kevin is that it's white officers versus black men. Pinky, put more black officers in our neighborhoods who will establish relationships with the residents, and they need to live in the communities and commute back and forth from LI or racist Staten Island.
I'm sorry. I have to stop you for a second, just because Darren puts in there at the end. Why can't we all be treated like Jerry?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So I had to stop you and laugh because that might have been the funniest thing.
Everybody, if Kevin, I don't even know if you could bring up Jerry. We could bring Jerry up again. Bill, yes, Kevin and I was on the job at the same time. I don't know what he was talking about. I wasn't taught to be asking nobody all them damn questions he was talking about. Paula said, no one is safe. Look what happened to Mr. Gates. Colin said, why does it matter where I'm going? Absolutely. Stephanie said, I would say to go. Stephanie's being a smart ass. She said, I'm going to go have sadistic sex. Exactly.
Where are you going? And I will tell you, Stefania, on that one, most cops, if you said that, would do it. Chuck's doing it now. Laughed his ass off. You'll never get a ticket. Never.
Yeah,
if you made me, and as pretty much universal, if you made that, if you got pulled over, you blew the red light, you speeding, and the cop walks up and you make
get laid.
Like
I'm
that,
supposed to get laid. Do you mind?
That cop's have a good day.
Yo, listen.
More often than not.
That's all we need. Where you going? Can I come? I'll be like, you know what I'm saying? There you go. You want to take it to another level. You know what I'm saying? Tanisha said, are you serious? Do y'all all see why a black man and a woman that are only there, they don't know you are the cop until they kill you and check your pockets? Do my black officers not see the badge that your kids pop to show they didn't see until your kid is dead? So black officers think the right protect and serve black people. That's why we are the only ones dead on the news. But as I said, the issue is white don't know what it's like to have to always to defend yourselves because you're black. The propaganda has been since we were slaves. We are the problem, and it's part of the fabric of America. To change that, you would have to eradicate America, and she puts it with K's. It was built on lies, rape, murder, and slavery. Absolutely. Seth said, cuz why are you all up in my mix? Exactly. Vanetta said, our environment is we are black. Vanetta also said, because all we have suffered, we are naturally defensive. Tanisha said, so I live in New Jersey. My mother got me out the hood. I come back to see my mom's. Now I'm dead. White punk ass officers will never get it. Y'all scared as need out the hood. Vanetta said, but it took a justification to change that, and now that sucks. Mark, wait, uniform officers could see you making a transaction from inside your building? Nah, being black was suspicious enough. Not Kev. Darren said, yo, Kerry, tell everybody Jerry, because we got Jerry. Everybody needs to see you. Vanetta said, hey, Malika Forster in the background. But Kev, yeah, everybody, we're going to see Jerry. And this is the whole reason in the nutshell. And after Jerry, you got Jerry, Kev?
No, not yet. Actually, I have. Well, I'll show Jerry. And I'm going to show you another video. I've been sitting here doing some looking, but I want to go back to the car stop thing. On a car stop for suspicion that Chuck and I both talked about, right? Where we saw something beforehand and then we pulled the car, is different than a car stop for a moving violation. I could probably name on my hand how many times a moving violation turned into me searching that car. Like, that is rare to me. Right. And it's, did it sound more like this officer was looking for excuses? Yeah, I disagree with it. If there's something else he can articulate to me, and that he's been trained, if there was a bulletin lately that they've seen, the use of U-Hauls coming up to bring things, and they've made 3 interdictions on U-Hauls in the last month, that all starts to make a little sense to me of being a little more curious and starting an investigation. But I think in general, car stops, it takes a lot to get to that next level of, I'm going to take you out of that car, put you in a pair of cuffs, and search your car.
Well, what's so funny? We all, the 3 of us know the game when it comes to that. And I will say this, that a lot of times we've heard the officer say, "Oh, why'd you stop him? Oh, he did this." And we've all know the tricks of pulling somebody over when we want that car stop. We all know that. You know what I mean? So I say all that to say that we can understand the frustration of people. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's why I hated doing car stops. If I did a car stop, it sure was a damn good reason in lieu of me doing my drug game. You understand what I'm saying? But if I pulled over a car, you must have damn near almost hit like some kids or a woman. I mean, or you blatantly ran a red light or something like that. I didn't do a car stop just to do car stops. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody. And let me just say this to the community out there: car stops are one of the most dangerous things to do in the world. They really are. Anything can happen during a car stop. But with that being said, we're seeing people out here articulating themselves and not and getting caught up in some stuff. So what did you want to talk about, Kevin, real quick? Hey, Crystal. Hi, everyone. Hey, my schoolmate. Crystal Spriggs said, "What's up, Chuck? I didn't know you went to school with Crystal."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Kev, what did you want to?
So I have, I've been spending some time trying to find. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. I just hit volume on that. I've been going through the Washington Post database on, police involved shootings, and trying to find, the unarmed white guy shot videos.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will tell you that the first bunch I looked at, there are no videos. There's no body cam. There's no anything, just the guy shot. But I did find one. So I figured I could show you that, and then we'll go to Jerry.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Does that work? Does that work for you?
That works for me. Fine, brother. Let's go. Let's see what you got.
All right, let's get this. 2G. Here we go.
Yeah, man. We're gonna blame it on the weather.
Go on, 2G.
Mm-hmm. 2G. That's a joke, everybody. Y'all all know what 2G mean now. Your internet ain't working good.
Cop crew is going to turn into 2G crew.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm not going to show the whole video. There's some things earlier on, but this is the cop's point of view. It's his body cam. The gentleman is going to come up from in the woods.
Can you enhance it more?
I don't know about, what do you mean enhance it more? Enlarge it?
Yeah, enlarge it. Right there at the bottom. Or right there.
Yeah, I hit it. It's the 2G takes a second.
Okay. All right. There you go.
All right. Now we're full screen.
6, copy that.
I just saw you this morning, dude.
It doesn't matter. I'm coming out there to kill you.
Well, why am I going to bring the paramedics then?
Come back to come in here, you fucking bitch.
Hey, man.
You fucking cunt.
Hey. You don't hear me talking to you like that.
Oh, isn't that nice? That's a nice officer.
Ethan.
Now, there was
I am
he
the cops.
EVP'd him earlier in the day.
I'm not okay.
Don't be like this, dude.
But he knows him now. Ethan.
Yeah.
I want to help you.
That's what I'm saying. He was there. He brought him to the hospital earlier in
wanna
the day
help you.
as an EVP.
Ethan, come on.
Oh.
Call the paramedics.
Yeah.
Is threatening
Yeah.
PD.
Maybe
But they're
Ethan
not going
knows
to come
Jerry.
over here if you're being like this.
That's nice. That white officer trying to de-escalate the situation.
Ethan, stay in there. Ethan. Stay in there. Ethan.
Ethan, butt naked?
Ethan, stay
Yep.
back. Stay back. Ethan, stay back. Ethan, stay back. Ethan. Shots fired. Shots fired.
What, he was scared of Ethan Johnson? What did he shoot Ethan for?
Yeah, would Ethan have something in his hands?
Now, I'll go back a little. And I'm
Ethan?
look at the right hand. I'm
Ethan?
questioning whether
Ethan, stay in there.
if I see
Ethan.
anything.
Stay in there. Ethan.
Ethan comes
stay
out
back.
with a schlong, butt naked, rolling in the street.
Ethan, stay back.
Right. What's in his hand? I don't see anything in his hand.
Ethan, stay back.
I don't see anything in his hand.
Ethan. Shots fired. Shots fired.
He's soft. He's another soft cop. Just shooting. I mean, and you know what's so funny? We can say this because I can say it. We can say it. Listen, we ain't do all that shooting. If we did all that damn shooting, we would be somewhere in jail. I mean, you know, come on. Oh, this is Jerry. Is this? Or they have a story about what happened to Ethan?
No, this is going to be Jerry. I'll pause while we talk about Ethan for a second, but it's going to be Jerry.
Okay, well, the bottom line is, what happened with the end of that case? Yes, that was a white man that got shot. That's a damn shame. A EDP.
I'll go back and I'll throw the guy's name and info in there. Right.
But it's obviously that officer was dead ass wrong. But I'm glad you was able to find one out of all the different black ones that's been shot and killed.
But
I don't say that black.
I was just about to say the same thing.
One.
I'm still going.
Yeah,
there's more than one.
One little clip. If you go on YouTube.
Now that's a 20. Now that's 2020. I didn't pull something from the 80s. All right.
Oh my God.
Right. I went through all 2021.
Don't you go back to Humphrey Bogart and James Cagney? See what you get from them.
I went to 2020. I went less than a year backwards. I went through all of the 2021s. None of them had video.
Oh my God!
I don't know why. You know.
Sorry, Kevin, but you did that to yourself.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
What you can get one from Humphrey Bogart or something. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
George one versus
C. Ralph,
a
you
thousand.
know what I'm saying? Let's see.
I go through this with you guys.
Trained to shoot non-fatal parts of the body. No, they shoot to shoot cinemass, Pamela. Everybody, y'all crazy. Everybody. Yeah, everybody, we're gonna show y'all Jerry. We're gonna keep the jokes rolling. Everybody,
we'll go to Jerry, then I'll go back to this. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready? Here we go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to Jerry, man. Listen to the voice.
Jerry, do what they say. Jerry, do what they say. Jerry. 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 You're going to get hurt, Jerry, if you don't stop.
Jerry kicking ass. Kev, you know you gotta laugh.
You get this hard, Jerry. Stop it. Stop, Jerry.
Jerry got his butt out.
You're gonna get in trouble.
That's the only thing she's worried about, Jerry getting in trouble.
Right.
Jerry took the ass, hit the cops with it, and then he wanted to go out in style. He left his little pickup truck and wanted to go out in a cruiser.
Jerry, don't do it.
Kev, you know you gotta laugh at that shit, Kev. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, let me tell you something. When I tell you, everybody, if only people of color could get that kind of thing. Jerry, later on, Kevin showed us that Jerry just didn't care. Well, he showed us some other stuff about Jerry. We just found out that Jerry took him on a slow speed chase because he was going, where was he going? 45 miles an hour. They was like, yo, Jerry, slow down. Pull over, Jerry. Jerry did not care. Jerry did what he wanted to do. That's where you see Jerry was just handing out ass whippings on that day. And the officers had no choice but to take him. But now we asked Kevin last week about did he think the officers, why didn't the officers shoot? Well, explain, Kevin. I'll let you articulate yourself.
Could they have shot? Yeah, once he took the stick and swung the stick, could they have shot him? Absolutely, they could have. Why didn't they? That's on them. You know, I think it happened too fast, and they didn't look like they were, especially him, very well trained in tactics and fighting. You know?
But we know officers are. So very few officers have a skill set.
Yeah,
you know?
But could they have? Yeah, at the moment he grabbed that stick, you grab my nightstick and I'm underneath you, I can get my gun. You're getting hit with it.
And
no ends ifs or buts.
Now let me ask you a question from that, and I go to this. I ask you this question. Let me rephrase it because I don't want you to. Because last time you said you can't judge an officer's actions, you can't call them racist or this or that due to what they did. So let me just say this to you: from seeing videos like that and seeing videos of unarmed people of color getting shot, do you understand why there's such an outrage?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure we got that in because, on a serious. Go ahead, Kevin.
I have
Chuck's frozen.
When it comes to Jerry, like, is it a small town? Is Jerry known by every town? Is Jerry someone who, in fact, let's say everyone knows him and his mom, his cousins in a little town? Because you get these little small hick towns where everybody knows everyone. And then, they'll take certain precautionary measures in terms of not assaulting somebody's cousin or uncle or aunt or something like that. So, I mean, that was a lot of latitude in regards to Jerry, a whole lot of latitude. But, I was all, once again, depending on the police department or municipality, it's like in those particular neighborhoods where everybody knows everyone. All right, give Jerry a pass. He's an EDP. He comes down to the same bar with the sheriff and he drinks beers, and his uncle and his aunts all they went to a wedding together. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, Jerry gets this latitude. He gets to wow out, but they're not going to shoot him. They'll take a beating because you have to look at that person's mother or uncle. on
And
the
Chuck,
next day.
also too,
So
think about Ethan. He said, "Come on, Ethan. I didn't call you any names. Don't call me no names." You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
And then they shot naked Ethan.
but then he shot naked Ethan. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but
that whole thing plays into.
maybe Ethan was dating his sister. I don't know because, but you know what's so funny? He's all the way outside talking about Ethan. I didn't call you no names. Come on, you know what I'm saying? I was here earlier. So if you were there earlier, there was no reason Ethan coming out there butt naked. You couldn't have just punched him in his mouth or hit him with the ass or something like that. He took the escalation already, and this is what the problem is. Even if you want to stay on Ethan, Kevin, because like Mark said, you got one out of 1,000. That's a good one. You know what I'm saying? Kev Katz was roasting you on that one, Kev.
That's
you know
okay.
what I'm saying?
And actually, it all proves my point. I showed you the
It
numbers.
proves that
There are
everybody
more,
else's point too.
but the numbers every year, there are more white guys unarmed shot by cops than black guys killed every
Kev,
single year.
You
The
say
videos
that,
aren't there. It's there. I know percentage-wise, there are more white Americans in this country than black Americans, so the percentages are off. I'm not. I keep pushing.
So when
this.
you say that, why do you say it then? Why do you keep saying
Why
that?
do I
You know
say
the
it?
numbers are
Because
off?
you're picking on the fact that we don't see white people being shot, and I'm saying, yeah, we don't see it. I don't know why those videos are out there, but there are more white people being shot. So why are those videos not being shown? And my belief is it's not sensational, so it doesn't sell and it's not put out there.
Okay, all right.
That's my belief, Bill. And I look.
So
we both agree on. Let me go through this. We both agree on, right, that the media is more likely if it's a 5-year-old or 15-year-old blonde girl than a brown girl to show whether it's a missing kid or being shot and killed or some other horrific thing. That the blonde girl is going to get more media coverage. You agree that the media is more shows more crimes, videos of black men committing crimes than white men, right? Do you feel that way as well?
I'm listening. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm asking. That was a question, Bill. Do you believe that, right?
Yeah.
So there is. So we believe that in several of these categories, the media is biased and shows one over the other. What I'm pushing here and saying here is that's what I'm showing is that in this category of unarmed people being shot by police, the media is more apt to be pushing if it is a white black man, not a white cop white man. There are more white men shot every year and killed.
Let me interject. Are you saying you have statistics that they're saying more white unarmed people have been shot more than unarmed black or brown people? Or are you just telling me white people in general?
Every year, unarmed by cops. Share screen. I'll show it to everybody. I'll put this.
We'll show it to us.
Washington Post keeps the stats,
Yeah.
so you know this is not a law enforcement website. This is not. It's the Washington Post.
But you know what's so funny with you saying this and saying all that? It still doesn't justify the mentality of the officers pulling people over. Even if you want to talk about this, we can talk about this all the time. So
in 2020, unarmed, shot and killed by police, 24 white, 18 black, 8 Hispanic. That's 2020. Unarmed, that's the two categories I chose. I took unarmed and the year. All right, I can eliminate the year. We can go year by year. You want to pick 2019? Let's go up to race. 26 white, 12 black, 11 Hispanic.
And that's just, okay, it's unarmed. All right.
Unarmed. I'm choosing unarmed. 2021. This is pretty early this year. 5-4. Right? Pick a year. Like it goes back to 20, we can go 1 year at a time. 2018, 25 white, 23 black. That's what I'm saying. That this is not being pushed. I'm not justifying anything, right? I'm not saying one bad shooting
Kevin,
a year
for
is
you
too
to
many.
show that is justification. Don't say you're not justified because you're trying to explain. Like, well, wait a minute.
Well, I
understand that there's racism, but let me explain to you why there's racism. When you show these statistics, and you just stated that you understand there's more white people than black people, so then you're telling us it's always going to be disproportionate. We're
Yeah.
never going to catch up, and we're damn sure this is one statistic we don't want to win. But you know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
And
None of us
wants to win
want to
that
be in.
statistic. But the bottom line is, we're showing you time and time again, and this is why we need you, because you're willing to come and have this dialogue with us. We need you to explain to us what's the mentality. It's just like tonight. You started off with the officer. The first thing you said was, "Hey, Wanda, what's going up?" Pamela, what EDP is an emotionally disturbed person, and it's a brief acronym what law enforcement uses to describe a person that's mentally disturbed or having issues at that time. But what I'm saying is that it's like when you started the narrative, and Darren noticed that he said, the first thing you did, you justified the officer's thought process.
I'm
Or
giving the
what
background,
officers.
and that's part of. But isn't that part of what we're supposed to do with the three of us? We're giving the background. People don't know what the officer's training is, what cops do, what we see in incidents. So I'm giving the background.
Yes.
I still, in
Yes,
the
you
end,
did.
that's all that was. I was giving the background of what that cop is supposed to be doing. Now, in the end, I still said he didn't do it properly, right? I didn't defend him. I just wanted people to understand the background of what he is supposed to be doing.
So what? And I'm just going to go back to that real quick, and then I'll let Chuck come in, and I'll read some more. What is it that the officer didn't do properly in your eye?
There was no reason to take this to the next level.
Okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
That was the thing. He didn't. He said he was at mere suspicion because of nervousness. And you're not at mere suspicion for nervousness.
Mm-hmm.
He's wrong. You're not there. You're at mere suspicion for things that Chuck and I described. When you know the building the guy's coming out of, you know how the time he spent there, the out of state plates. There's a lot of things you can go into, but you're not at mere suspicion because I pulled you over, and when I talk to you, you were nervous.
Yo, I don't mean to laugh, but people they giving you the business. They said, "Yo, Kevin,
I'm a statistician."
Yeah, they said Lindor just got out his slump, so there's hope for you. Collins said, "Yo, Kevin, do some research on Jerry and give us a feedback next Wednesday." Yo, Stephanie said, "Yo." She said, "We all need to step to the files and leave Optimum alone." Yeah, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti, and our special host, Charles Chuck Riches. Wanda said she got hands, though. Exactly. Yo, you're right, Wanda. She was throwing her joints, man. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I would always work with her. You know what's so funny, everybody? The bottom line is, we do show these videos to see how we can make this thing better. But the bottom line is, I really wanted to know, and I'm not going to hold anybody really too long, because Chuck, I know where you are, and I want you to enjoy yourself. Wanda, let us know if you're coming on next week. And I mean, but we have to find out why. Kevin said it earlier. He said he was taught that way to investigate car stops or reasons of inquiry. Like, I really don't give a damn where you're coming from unless I'm dealing in drugs. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's that 101, I'm gonna, back in the day, that's that old policing where, I caught you for lying. You know what I'm saying? So I know you didn't come from here. You understand what I'm saying? Which is because you definitely ain't gonna pull the I mean, back then in the days, we could have pulled the person over and said, "Yeah, I know where you came from." But we wanted to play the verbal game, because if we went to court, we wanted to be able to articulate what we said. The old, they didn't use the signal and shit when we pulled them over. We got it. We all know that game, right? What I'm saying all that to say is that the elephant in the room is why a black man is feeling scared. That's the real elephant in the room. Why a black person or a brown person, a Latin person, is scared, and the officer keeps escalating something that wasn't there. And then in the end of it, Wanda, you missed it. and the end of it, now he's having the officer wants to have dialogue with him, and then going to tell him, well, don't use the black card, and then going to say, yo, well, there could have been drugs. The dog is right, and you're wrong. There's drugs in the van, but we can't find it. That's what he told him. That's what he told that man. He said, there's drugs in this van. And it could have been put in there. It was put in there before you. He's admitting that, but there wasn't no drugs found. But then he's detaining him. If you felt that way, officer, then you know what? When I take this truck back to U-Haulville, wherever the hell I got it from, or wherever I'm going to take it, get you a search warrant, and then you find the drugs and arrest yourself. Because the bottom line is, it wasn't me. You understand what I'm trying to say? It wasn't me. Because the bottom line is, he was trying to look for arrest. And then that old cliche about, yo, he's nervous. Yeah, everybody's nervous. Kevin, you said you're nervous when you get pulled over. When you get pulled over. So that 101 nervous, you effing right, I'm nervous. Because right now, it's obviously Kevin's a statistician. He right. He finds these stats unarmed people. You know what I'm saying? All over the world. There's more white people all over the world. So yeah, they are getting shot. There's not videos of it because maybe, and I don't say this with any disrespect to any of my white friends, but maybe maybe the white people getting shot feel like it's justified. Ethan butt naked was a crime in that town. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But you see,
I looked it up. He was unarmed, right? Like that.
Oh, he wasn't armed.
Unarmed.
That's right. What do you have? All he was butt naked with his jeans wrapped around his face.
And
I don't understand how much of a trigger.
So look at that video, right? Like, so there's no race involved in that one. Maybe he was afraid of his Johnson. I don't know. Like,
right.
I can't articulate what it was. There was no chance of a weapon, right? Like, as he's running at you.
Right.
And that's that scenario with it, as the cop where you have that gun out and the guy, comes at you. I don't remember much training in that direction of like drop my gun back in and it's hands-on time.
Well, but you know why? Because the bottom line is we weren't taught to bring out our guns first. We always was taught, and Chuck had more time than us, and we were all taught, if you bring that gun out, you better sure have a damn good reason to use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right now, and we're going to pick this up next week, but right now, we are seeing that officers can articulate, I was in fear for my life. I was scared. And they can shoot right now. And it's being justified as, if the person didn't have a past record, if the person didn't have this.
Mark Rose wants to know if I get pulled over, will I show my stats?
He will. He's gonna show his stats. He's gonna say, you know what he's gonna tell him? He's gonna say, well, I was on my podcast and we were talking about these stats, and I told him that when you pull me over, how I'm gonna react. And I'm nervous. Here, touch my chest. But you didn't shoot me. So they're gonna take a picture together and shit.
I'm bringing more stats next week. You guys are in trouble.
Yo, Cat, we're gonna call you.
I'm gonna really set people off next week. Wait till Mark. This is gonna be just for you. Wait till you see what I have next week.
Everybody next week, Kevin's nickname is gonna be Stats. I can't help it. Yo, everybody. Yo, oh my God.
This is a good way to end it today, right? We had a good laugh at the end.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Like I said, we're trying to find a solution. We really are. Next week, we're going to talk about in detail, like, how do we get rid of officers with the fear and able to deal with people in the community. Wanda said, almost white women, also white women in distress. Wanda said, I'm telling you, Kevin, it is to keep the narrative of Black criminality going strong. We're going to talk about that definitely next week. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Kev, Chuck, give us some positive affirmation. Are you coming back next week? Are you and Wanda coming back next week? Are you going to try to come back next week?
I'll be back next week, man. If you have me, brother, I'll come back, man. Absolutely.
All right, you're going to come back next week. Maybe try to get some other Wanda. If you want to, you can make it. If you can't, we understand. Kev, Chuck, give us some positive affirmation. Before we get out here, first I want to give a big shout out to Collins and Mark. Happy birthday again. Wishing you guys all the best. Can't wait to party with you in the upcoming summer. Shout out to everybody for tuning in. Nisi, I see you. Thank you for coming back around. It's good to see you back around. You've been MIA for a minute. Crystal, it's always good to see you. Chuck, give us some positive affirmation, some love. Any words of encouragement you want to say before you get out of here? And then Kev, finish it out. Mm-hmm.
Well, first and foremost, I mean, this platform itself gives all of us the opportunity to speak openly, man, and candidly about a lot of issues and things that most people are kind of afraid to touch on. And it's a good thing that we're all tuning in and we're able to talk about it, we're able to laugh about it. Kevin and his stats, he's the man as far as I'm concerned with that. It's all good. I mean, but I guarantee you those stats don't go back maybe 400 or 500 years, because in terms of brothers being killed by the hand of white officers, they probably didn't keep stats then. But that's a different story. That's a different story in itself, But what I also want to tell, which I think is also a large issue that sometimes we don't tend to look at, regardless of the circumstances, there's a lot of brothers and sisters who are under a lot of stress because they do work law enforcement. And based on the stigma and the issues associated with what's going on with the climate, we need to start to look at police officers, or we need to change the overall thought process about a police officer actually being a professional. And we need to change that culture, because it's also affecting the Black and Hispanic and those who are minorities who are in uniform. And they want to do a good job. They want to be known for doing a good job. But unfortunately, based on the stigma and everything associated with having that as a profession, they're also carrying that weight. And not only that, they also have to deal with the issues associated with them being Black within a predominantly white, in terms of law enforcement, it's predominantly white. So it's a profession that's dominated by whites. So there's a dynamic associated with that, but I think also what we need to also talk about as well, about the brothers and sisters who are in uniform, who are dealing with the issues from the public, dealing with their own community based on what they think and feel that they're sellouts because they happen to be cops. And then what we can do to kind of change the face of the profession itself. Because in essence, like when people used to call me a cop, I should tell them, whoa, I'm not a cop. I'm a police officer. That's not the exam that I took. I didn't take the exam to be a cop. I took the exam to be a police officer. So I think we need to do what's necessary to break down those barriers, but we need to start to try to do what's necessary so the community understands that being a police officer really is a profession. And everyone who does it really wants to do the right thing by communities. I mean, like I said, you change your mind, you change your world, and this is what this format does, and I'm hoping that to be a part of it, we can at least break some of the ice that needs to be crossed in terms of this nonsense.
Thank you, appreciate you, Kev.
All right.
I mean stats. I'm sorry, not stats. Stats.
I gotta have the pencil on my ear next week, and I have things ready to write. I gotta get a whole little costume.
You know that pocket holder thing with the little pencil?
Yeah, we're gonna call you Hidden Figures. Where that's your man. Call you man, your computer, exactly.
All right, sorry. We got a little fun at the end of the night, which is good. And that's part of this, right? Like, look, we had some tough conversations at times, things that we may or may not ever see eye to eye on, but we talked about it. We understood each other. We laughed in the end. That's what it's about. And if you take the time, you kind of open yourselves up to people, these are the things that can happen in the world. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that positive change in the world. Start small, and let's see where it goes. Bill, Chuck, we're going to keep fighting for what we believe is, things that need to be changed with the police departments. The training needs to be changed. We need to make cops real professionals who we want them to be. And I hope that happens one day. My last thing I'll always, I try to say every week, take a break, everybody, spend some time, watch the Knicks tonight. I'm not even a Ranger fan. I'm going to watch the game. If you're a fan of fighting, there were numerous fights in this game tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was an incident from the game the night before.
I need to watch that series.
Yeah, you'll if you're not a hockey fan, but you like a little roughness, tonight was the game to watch. I don't like the Rangers. I don't like the Capitals. I'm going to watch the game and just watch guys kick the crap out of each other.
Who's your team? The Islanders?
I am, yes.
Okay.
So, do something, watch sports, go hiking, play with your kids, get off the social media 1 day a week. That's always my advice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Stats Branzetti signing off.
Yeah, K Stats. Everybody, you got whoever's just tuning in, you got to go back and catch the end of it. It was a great show, but you got to watch it over again and see how he came up with his name. Thank you, Mark, for the name. Yeah, I had to run with it. Everybody, I asked you, let's keep it going. Please come on, be a part of the panel. Listen, there's one thing about Real Talk. Anybody knows about Real Talk? No one's wrong. It's an opinionated show. So we're here to share opinions. Share your opinions. The fact of it is, three of us, we can deem ourselves as experts because we've done this thing for so long. And, we've done from the integral parts of the system, from law enforcement. But right now we're trying to explain the cultures and why the culture is still the way it is and why hasn't it changed. That is the problem in itself. That's the elephant in the room, why the culture hasn't changed. But we'll discuss that more and more. Just stay positive, keep the energy beautiful, stay safe, protect yourselves. I mean, it's still a pandemic out here. The world is opening up. If I see you in the streets, I have no problems you buying me a drink. I will take it. That's what I do. So you know what I'm saying? I will be at all barbecues and cookouts if I'm asked to come. Malika and I will be there holding hands. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Happy birthday to all the birthday people. If I don't speak to any of you over the weekend, happy Mother's Day. Shout out to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day. You are the queens. Wishing you all the best. Nisi, happy Mother's Day to you. I'll talk to you over there with Crystal. All the ladies. Vanetta, happy Mother's Day. Men for being mothers. How about that? Let me stop. Men hold it down too. Everybody, we see you later. Real talk, man. Love you guys. Appreciate you.